Give me a winner of free agency.
Yeah, so I'll say the Seahawks.
I agree.
I I really I maybe it's where they are in the country, so far separate from all the rest of us. But like I think they've done a really nice job drafting and developing the last couple of years, and I think that's really helped the transition from Pete Carroll to Mike McDonald, and like you look at their young base of players, and it's guys like Devin Witherspoon and Jackson Smith and Jigba and Kenneth Walker and Charles Cross, and there's like a lot of good young players there. Reek Woolen, and they're sort of spread throughout the roster. And if you look at it near them and you say, we're not going to re-sign DK Metcalf, and like we may not be and we're $10 million apart in our negotiation with Geno, well, then is it a bad result to come out of that with Sam Darnold, a second round pick, and a third round pick?
No.
So now they've got 5 picks in the top 100. They got 7 years younger and like ostensibly cheaper at quarterback as well. And they've got this young core that can kind of grow up. They've got their offensive coordinator now, and Clint Kubiak, who I think will last there. Unless they win too big, I guess. Right. But I do think like you have like just, this is like, to me, like the sort of way of kind of moving the ball forward that you could explain to a little kid. It's really simple. We're going all in on our core. We've got some young guys we're going to pay over the next few years. We weren't going to pay DK. We were far apart in negotiations with Geno. So we got younger at quarterback. We got a couple of picks. So now we got 5 in the top 100. We can supplement that core. And this is a draft, again, like where you don't want to be in the top 10, but if you've got picks from like 25 to 75, 25 to 100, then you could really, walk away with a bunch of starters. And I think that's where the Seahawks are right now,
Totally.
So I really like what they've done to kind of get younger and double down on their young core here. And again, like the big if is, can they get enough out of Sam Darnold? Because Geno was a really good player for them the last year. Can they get enough out of Sam Darnold to at least tread water at quarterback? And that to me is the big unknown. But I don't know, man. Like I think they're in really good shape coming out of this. Again, a lot of it depends on whether or not Darnold can do for Clint Kubiak what he was able to do for Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips and Josh McCown and all those guys last year.
I'm going to both sides it a little bit because I think that DK Metcalf is a player who will age really well in the NFL. Yeah. Like, and it's not one of those typical, like it's almost a Barkley thing where it's like, how could you let go of this athletic specimen? And, but you kind of, you think the team is sort of succumbing to that, like, well, it's the age curve and he's going to be on the other side of his prime. But I think DK could evolve into a whole different kind of receiver, like almost like having Andre Johnson kind of back half of his career.
Yeah.
So that said, like, I wasn't thrilled with that, but the idea that, if you look at the offense, if you look at your team from a kind of a 30,000 foot holistic perspective, it's like, okay, I got 7 years younger at the quarterback position. Yep. I think by the time Geno redoes his deal, isn't Sam going to make a little less?
Yeah, I mean, well, so here is the numbers. If you want to know the numbers, it was Geno is at 45. The Seahawks were closer to 35. Those are rough, but there was like right in that ballpark. So they're about $10 million apart. So they're getting Sam Darnold. That's why I say they get cheaper, because they're getting Sam Darnold for, I think, right around what they were willing to pay Geno.
And so you have that, and you have the fact that now you can take this infrastructure, you can take the equity, and you can pour it into what John Schneider's been wanting to do since 2012, build a running game, And if you have Clint Kubiak, who runs the Kyle Shanahan / Gary Kubiak offense, right? Yep. Sam Darnold, everyone's saying, oh, he's, well, we figured him out. That's bullshit. Sam Darnold had 2 bad games at the end of a season, and the Vikings had no time to adjust. They had no time to adjust. So, and
we're going to get to them in a minute, but like, look what the Vikings did in free agency. Like the first thing they did was spend a lot in the offensive line.
Yeah.
Sort of what happened.
This isn't just about Sam Darnold. And if the Clint Kubiak offense
I don't know how
works,
many people actually watched that Rams game, but the Rams defensive front just crushed the Vikings. You know what I
Nothing
mean?
to it has a little bit to do with Sam Darnold, but not a lot. And if you invest in the Clint Kubiak offense, you materialize that running game with Charbonnet and Walker, you get going on offense a little bit, you're not going to have to worry about people blitzing Sam Darnold because you're going to run the ball 35 times a game, and that's what you want. And that's what Sam is going to be more comfortable with anyway. Jackson Smith and Jigba's a star. Like, I think that this is going to work out.